Chick flicks suck. Okay, that's a broad generalisation, but there is a point to be made. In the grand scheme of things, the chick flick is a relatively harmless genre of film. There's usually an attractive yet witty female lead trying to make her way through the world looking for Mr. Right, until she's inevitably paired with an equally attractive and witty man in the end. Sometimes there's comedy, sometimes there's heartbreak, but it's a tried-to-tested formula with no signs of going away that remains beloved by many women. And I think that's where most criticism of chick flicks secretly comes from, to be honest. Not because the stories are cliched or that some of the jokes don't work half the time, but because it's the girls. Women talking about shopping and guys and their feelings for 90 minutes. Sure, guys get to have movies about fast cars, action-packed thrillers and giant robot explosions topping the box office from now until eternity, but clearly chick flicks are the ones destroying cinema. With that said, however, it's no surprise that when mainstream media refuses to take female-orientated movies seriously, it does lead to Hollywood producing some of the most asinine, unfunny, cringiest pieces of shit ever to grace the big screen. And one example of this tragic phenomenon is The Other Woman. This movie came out in 2014 and was marketed as one of those revenge comedies like The First Wives Club and 9 to 5, in which three likeable women strike back against arsehole men while discovering friendship and learning to love themselves. But instead of empowering their audience, The Other Woman chooses instead to patronise them with bad characterisation, a distinct lack of comedy, and a disorientated plot that keeps dragging on to disguise the fact that our heroines just might be less sympathetic than our supposed villain, which is one hell of a cinematic achievement. It's a one-sided battle of the sexes when nobody comes out clean, but someone's got to review it. This is Poindexta, and this is The Other Woman. We're introduced to two of our main characters, Carly and Mark, played by Cameron Diaz and Nikolai Coster-Waldau. They've only been dating each other for 8 weeks, but these two are very much in love, as demonstrated by this sickeningly sweet romantic montage.
It's more than love at first sight, and I want a Sunday kind of love.
Aw, aren't they just the cutest? Look at how they do nothing but smile at each other adorably in public, like they're in an eHarmony commercial. I can already tell that something bad is going to happen soon, because this whole opening scene is too pretentious and cutesy even for a rom-com. But surely Mark can't be that bad. He just bought Carly a present.
I saw it and I thought of you.
Oh Mark, it's just what I've always wanted. A box! But little does she know that Mark is in fact already married to a woman named Kate, played by Leslie Mann. Now, Leslie Mann is usually a very talented comedic actress, having previously appeared in A 40-Year-Old Virgin and Knocked Up. But here, she isn't as funny as you'd expect her to be. In fact, she's annoying. Really annoying.
Well, I heard a story on the news about a guy who ate an undercooked pork chop. They had to cut out a chunk of his skull, and they had to implant it in his groin. Otherwise, his brain would have literally, his head would have exploded.
I can almost understand why Mark's having an affair. Oh, I'm sorry, was that too mean of me? I almost forgot my manners. Kate isn't really an airheaded drip whose voice sounds like a dolphin getting strangled to death. She's just quirky. Yet there's something about the way she's written which is kind of uncomfortable and leaves a bad taste in my mouth. Come to think of it, I've noticed that each one of our three leading ladies represents a different sexist stereotype, often featuring in bad chick flicks. And our first example, as beautifully demonstrated by Kate here, is stereotype number 1, the annoying partner. They're usually found in male-orientated comedies, although they do make the occasional appearance in chick flicks such as this one, as the result of incompetent screenwriters whose only knowledge of adult heterosexual relationships comes from those Game Over t-shirts. This stereotype is insulting because it implies that monogamy is a death trap for couples, the wife telling her husband what to do is just nagging, and anything she has to say is either too dumb or too boring compared to the poor, henpecked man. But why this movie has chosen to introduce one of its main female characters this way is beyond me. Not that I entirely blame Leslie Mann for all of this. I mean, just try acting to this script.
I feel like I need to go to brain camp or something.
What?
Like a brain camp. You know, where they make you do exercises for your brain.
Meanwhile, Carly arrives at her office, where we soon discover that she's an attorney at a law firm. That already sounds rather interesting, so let's hope that her characterization will be slightly more nuanced than Kate's.
Who's Mark?
It's the guy I'm seeing.
Obviously, but which one?
The only one?
There's one guy. What happened to Model Man Boy and Dr. Not So Smart?
Gone.
And the hot rabbi. And the hot rabbi's hot cousin.
Cut him loose.
Or we could just hear her talk more about how much she loves Mark, instead of seeing her doing the actual lawyery type things. That'll do just fine. Great. Yep, it looks like we're stuck with chick flick stereotype number 2, the workaholic in love. Now, admittedly, Carly is a slightly toned down version of this trope, but it's still one of the more subtly offensive creatures when it comes to writing female characters. The basic idea is that if a movie features a woman who's calm, collected, and good at her job, then chances are good that the moment a man comes along and breaks her heart, all her common sense and self-reliance goes right down the drain, and she has to learn how to follow her heart instead of her head. After all, women should be confident and work hard, but not too hard if they want men to like them. It's especially weird seeing Cameron Diaz play this type of character here, when she already did the whole workaholic falls in love storyline in Holiday. Only there, it was done a million times better. Also, some of you might have noticed that Carly's sister Lydia is played by none other than Nicki Minaj, who's obviously continuing the time-honoured tradition of female musicians appearing on the big screen in the most terrible movies known to mankind. After Madonna, it's basically required. But if you're hoping that she'll be just as witty and outspoken as she is in real life, then I'm afraid I've got some bad news. You see, not only does Nicki barely appear in this movie, in fact her screen time barely tops the 5-minute mark, but also her character has zero impact on the plot and could have easily been cut out. It seems that Lydia's only real reason for existing in this story is to occasionally spout exposition and act as the kooky yet street-smart counterpart to Carly's straight-laced personality.
You don't see me walking around here worried about my job, do you?
Unfortunately, no.
I come here because it's like having a hobby that pays well.
Yeah, Lydia's just here because it's a hobby that pays well. I mean, God forbid this movie show a black woman being just as hard-working and competent as our white heroine. Did I also mention that she happens to be the only non-Caucasian female character with a speaking role in this entire movie? Really puts in perspective just how white most chick flicks are, as well as how white Hollywood is in general. Moving on. Mark picks up Carly after work as they made plans to get together with her father for drinks, only for him to tell her in the middle of the car journey that he can't stay after all, claiming that he has to go back to his house in Connecticut because he just found out from his housekeeper that the pipe burst in his bathroom. You know, the usual first world problems.
I'm sorry, baby. I gotta take a rain check.
Yeah, that's okay.
Seriously, Mark, touch a woman's leg without her permission one more time, and she might do more to that hand of yours than brush it away. And then we're introduced to Carly's dad, Frank, who's played by none other than 80s icon Don Johnson. Good to see he's still getting work after all these years, although Frank seems to be less Miami Vice and more midlife crisis. Just see for yourself.
Every relationship I've ever had, something fell off.
Well, that's probably why you're wrapping up divorce number 5 with one of my sorority sisters.
Wow, Carly seems to be worryingly accepting of the fact that her own father was once married to a girl her age, more specifically her sorority sister. So, basically, they were in college when they... No, not cool, ew!
You really like this guy, huh? Put on something sexy, get your ass out to Connecticut, and fix that young man's plumbing.
Okay, Frank, I know that you and your daughter are close, but telling her to put on something sexy and fix that man's plumbing is really fucking inappropriate. I don't know where Carly's mother is in all of this, nor is it ever explained if anything happened to her, but if I found out that the father of my child was an unapologetic pervert, I'd grab my daughter before heading out the door. So taking her dad's advice, because clearly the man of 5 divorces is the love expert, Carly decides to show up at Mark's house that evening while dressed like she's starring in a Mario porn parody. But after she rings the front bell, guess who ends up opening the door instead of him? Uh-oh, it's Kate! By the way, very smart thinking on Mark's part for him to tell Carly his real address. I'm sure that no problems could possibly arise from both his wife and mistress knowing where he lives. Oh, wait! Seriously, there's been a manipulative bastard and then there's just been stupid.
I'm looking for Mark.
I'm his wife, Kate.
Oh, you know, I have the wrong address. I'm looking for a different Mark. Anyway, I... Oh my God! Shit. Yeah, forget this.
Ouch, that's gonna hurt. I mean, this is just too embarrassing to watch, and it seems like such an awkward, horrible experience for everyone involved. Oh, sure, the accident looks bad, but the comedy, so painful. Carly is naturally heartbroken that the man she loves was married all this time, but fortunately, Lydia is there to provide moral support.
He's got a wife, okay? He's married.
And you don't think you can take her?
I don't need to wreck someone's home for a date.
Not always a wreck. Stan and I were married when we met. We weren't happy. Now we are.
You wrecked 2 marriages.
First of all, one of them was mine, so that doesn't count. Second of all, Stan's wife was a fat Canadian with no sexual charisma. That marriage was doomed from the beginning. It doesn't even count as cheating.
I don't think that's how it works.
Oh, great. We get some relationship advice from a woman who's proudly admitted to cheating on her first husband while breaking up another man's marriage because his wife was fat. If this is supposed to make her character seem lovably quirky or some shit, then it's not working. Also, I find it weird that we're supposed to hate Mark for cheating on several women at once, and rightfully so, but Lydia openly joking about her own affair isn't really given the same negative treatment, aside from Carly's reaction, which quickly gets brushed aside. I guess as far as this movie is concerned, home wrecking is only bad if a man does it, whereas women who cheat on their partners are feisty and powerful. Double standards, making women look like shit since forever.
I'll tell you what my mother told me, and these are words to live by. Selfish people live longer.
Which probably makes you immortal. Actually, that just makes me want to see a remake of Highlander starring Nicki Minaj. Helen Mirren could play her mentor, and Gwendoline Christie could be the new Kurgan, and... oh, why can't I be watching that imaginary movie instead of this shit? But just when Carly's day couldn't get any worse, Kate suddenly shows up, revealing that she found her number on Mark's phone bill and fast knows about their affair. And then she proceeds to have a nervous breakdown in front of everyone.
Is this open? This window? Anywhere? Just lay down for a minute. This window. Just open it a little, crack it. Just crack it. Air. It's hot in here. Just crack the window.
She's having a panic attack in a public place because her husband's been sleeping with another woman. How wacky. Thankfully, Carly manages to get Kate out of her office and they go to a nearby bar in order to discuss the affair in further unwanted details.
We had sex.
There's a difference between having sex 1 time and having sex 10 times.
50.
50 times? Don't you have a job? Or hobbies? What's wrong with you?
Is there a point to this scene? Does this movie have a plot at all, or is it just going to be 90 minutes of awkward sex references? I know it's kind of redundant of me to keep going on about how annoying Kate is, but it's worth pointing out again just what an embarrassing, sexist character she is. She constantly goes back and forth between being either irritatingly shrill or downright depressing, and you never know how to react, so it's hard to find her the least bit entertaining. And it really doesn't bode well for the rest of this film if it can't do something as simple as make its lead characters funny or sympathetic while we're still in the first act.
Last time I was single, I was 24 and the dating pool was everyone. And now it's like a shallow puddle of age-appropriate men.
I know that you think that it's that bad, but it's a lot worse. Because even if you meet a nice guy, and when I mean nice, I mean that he's like not an obvious sociopath, it's just a matter of time before someone gets bored and unhappy and is saying that it's over. Everything fails eventually.
This movie feels like it's stuck in a time warp. All this stuff about relationships and dating that they're talking about might have been relevant and somewhat edgy in an old Sex and the City episode or something, but now it just feels dull and brings nothing new to the table.
But that's just me. He's your husband. What does your gut tell you? Jesus Christ.
Aside from a gross out gag, that's certainly new. Oh, and then Kate gets so drunk that Carly has to try to physically put her inside a taxi so she can go home. It's about as lengthy and unfunny as you'd expect. Honey, if that's your definition of the best night ever, then your life must really suck. The next morning, Kate unexpectedly shows up at Carly's office again, and as you can probably guess, more awkwardness ensues.
The idea of worrying about white shirts and thin turkey and all of that while pretending not to know about his whores? Not that you're a whore. You're not a whore.
But you just called her one. Carly is naturally uncomfortable about hanging out with her ex's wife and tells her that she doesn't want to get involved with their marriage problems anymore. However, Kate refuses to take no for an answer as she soon ends up stalking her and breaking into her building.
Hi. What is your deal? Do you not get how weird this is?
Thank you, Carly, the only sane character in this film so far, which isn't saying a lot.
Because my whole world just blew up and I don't have a job and I have no money and I have no friends to talk to because all of my friends are Mark's friends.
Wow, that sure sounds like one heck of a plot-convenient excuse for Kate to not properly stand up for herself.
Can't talk to you until you stop crying.
I just am sad.
Then cry on the inside like a winner.
Stop crying, Kate. Hysterical women are bad. But at least they make for such great comedy because of how sad and pathetic they are. Am I right? Carly lets her in anyway, out of kindness, I guess. But that doesn't put an end to their uncomfortable attempts at conversation.
Have a seat.
Okay, well, I don't want to sit someplace where you and Mark had sex. Is the ottoman okay? What about the chair?
We don't need to know this. Wait a minute. They're drinking alcohol, they're having friendly conversations, and now they're playing dress up in Carly's unrealistically large closet. Could it be? Oh yes it is. The first of this movie's many friendship montages. They completely grind the story and character development to a halt, and they make no sense whatsoever, but at least we get to see that the women are friends. It's like a cue for the audience to laugh and smile along with our main characters, because apparently they're so dumb that the film needs to tell them when to feel happy.
What is he doing?
No, 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 no.
Oh look, it's a metaphor for the movie. A few days later, Kate calls Carly to tell her that she smashed Mark's study the night before the burst of rage, so she comes around to help her clean up before Mark gets back from work.
You know how I told you to get your ducks in a row? Well, this isn't putting your ducks in a row. This is putting your ducks in a wood chipper.
To be honest, I'd rather watch some ducks being put in a wood chipper right about now. At least that sounds like it'd be intentionally horrible and disgusting. We're then introduced to Kate's brother Phil, who is so obviously going to get together with Carly in the end that you could replace him with a cardboard cutout and the film would still be just as mediocre.
What is up with your hot brother?
No, you can't have my husband and my brother. That's being very greedy.
No more cynicism about relationships from Carly. Kate's brother is hot. Yeah, ignore that stuff she said earlier about how nice guys are obvious sociopaths, because now she's giggling over Phil like a schoolgirl. Strong, independent woman, no more. The seeds of predictably bad characterization have been sown. Still, I'll at least give Carly and Kate credit for somehow managing to get along with each other. In fact, their newfound friendship inspires Kate to do something huge, something drastic, something that will change her life forever. She couldn't shave her own armpits or legs up till now. Okay. But then Kate overhears Mark on the phone talking to another woman, whom she initially believes to be Carly. Of course, anybody watching this film with half a brain cell can tell that this is so obviously not the case. But that doesn't stop her from venting about it to Phil.
Katie, sweetheart, what are you doing? What is that?
This is what happens when Carly makes me cry on the inside like a winner.
Who's Carly?
She's Mark's girlfriend.
Mark's cheating on you?
I'm sorry, sorry, but why didn't she tell him all of this earlier? Bearing in mind that Kate apparently has no job, no real friends, and her only financial support comes from her husband, you'd think that the first thing she'd do upon discovering that Mark's been cheating on her would be to tell her own brother about this. You know, the person who's her closest living relative and who genuinely cares about her, instead of stalking Carly for the last 3 days. And when Kate finally does confront Carly, guess what she finds out?
I don't know. All I know is what I heard, and he's meeting someone.
Well, then it's not me, so he must be cheating on both of us.
Oh my God, that's it. He's cheating on us.
It was all a big, stupid misunderstanding. No shit. So, what's the point of this conflict? Nothing. Nothing at all. Even the most predictable of comedy writers would cringe at how pointless that was. The next weekend, Mark heads out of town for a trip that's totally related to work and has absolutely nothing to do with him screwing another woman. And we get this completely pointless joke. It's the Mission Impossible music. Get it? Funny? Carly meets Kate out by the front of her house and they drive off to follow Mark.
No. Are you kidding me? Oh, wait, no. Oh, God.
Sorry. Jesus, I think that might have been his balls.
Oh, bless. This movie wants to be bridesmaids. Anyway, the two ladies hit the road until they arrive at this swanky looking house in the Hamptons. And then this happens.
Hi there. I was out for a jog and my hammy's locked up. You know when that happens, I had to stretch. My gumby just pulled over for a little stretch.
Kate, you're not... No, we're not laughing at this. Please, just stop. We've got a movie to get through and you're just wasting everyone's time. I just... can't even... Wow. And then they decide to stay with Phil because he just happens to live nearby. He and Carly start to have a connection, much to the surprise of nobody watching this, and the movie makes a feeble attempt to flesh out his character.
You and Kate are the weirdest friends ever.
We are the weirdest friends ever.
But she's a good person. And whenever she's done running around with you, she's gonna realize that that's gone. And it's gonna suck. So try not to make that part any worse for her.
I could look after Kate myself, but I'm far too one-dimensional to do anything important other than just be a really nice guy, which is why I'm dumping my little sister on you, a complete stranger, instead of properly giving her the help she needs. Blood truly is thicker than water. Carly and Kate travel to the beach to spy on Mark and his latest squeeze. Because this movie is still under the impression that stalking equals hilarity and hijinks, and it's not long before they run into the other woman herself, Amber. It's been at least 5 or 10 minutes since we last saw any of the actresses in this film demean themselves to the name of comedy. I sure hope this character introduction provides just the right amount of embarrassment and blatant sexism to keep this sinking ship afloat. Wouldn't that be amazing?
What are you doing? Wait!
I have never been so disappointed to be right. And so we come to chick flick stereotype number 3, the sexy girl. Amber is played by model Kate Upton, and her only purpose in the story is to be ditzy and have boobs. That's it. No real characterization, no hints of being deeper than she looks, nothing like that. She's just a sexy girl. She was probably only added into the script so that the guys who were dragged by their girlfriends into the cinema to see this film could stare at a hot model in a swimsuit as a consolation prize. My apologies if it sounds like I'm slut-shaming her, but just be grateful that I'm more honest about this character's reason for existence than whoever made this movie. Carly and Kate reveal to Amber the truth about Mark, and they all decide to take care of this grave situation with the most appropriate call to action. Friendship montage! Now, I know what you're thinking. What on earth is the purpose of this scene? We don't need to see another friendship montage, do we? Who cares? Everyone's friends now. They shouldn't be asking serious questions like, when are we going to ditch Mark or move on with our lives, or how's Kate going to take care of herself financially when she basically lives off her husband. They should be out dancing on the beach at night and having lots of fun. Yay! Friendship!